Hi everyone, this is Shelly with Life Creates Art with part 2 of our affirmation series. We're going to get right into painting today. I took a lot of time teaching with the last one and because it needed to be done just to sort of start out the series, but we're going to be doing a lot of talking while we're painting today. So I just want to do a quick shout out and say that everything that we do on my 16 by 20 canvas, you can, of course, do in a smaller version. This is an 11 by 14 canvas. You could do in any size canvas, 11 by 14, 8 by 10. You just do it in a smaller version. Today, we're going to be working with a 16 by 20 and horizontal, but of course, doing a smaller size canvas. Let's get started. Today, we're doing a whimsical tree. Okay, so to do the base of the canvas, I've decided to use some greens. Now, our tree is not going to be a traditional tree. It is going to be filled with lots of different colors, lots of different leaves. We are going to be writing all over it because this is about affirmations. And so I've decided to use a darker green, a medium green, and a light green, starting with darker, medium, and going to light, very light, because we do want to be able to write on this. So we want our greens to be able to show. I am using water to lighten my greens. It's kind of running down my canvas. So I'm going to start by blending this. I hope you enjoyed the first video with the sunflower. Now, we did the sunflower. It's not how I would do a sunflower. If I were working on a sunflower and giving just a sunflower as a gift to someone, I would do that in a lot more detail, take a lot more time. But it wasn't really about the detail of the sunflower. It's more about adding a little water to this, right to the canvas. It's more about the affirmations and just the essence of the sunflower. You can add a lot more detail if you like to your paintings, which I encourage you to add as much detail as you want to your art, but it just gives you the essence of what the painting is about. And it's really about the affirmations. Remember, I talked to you last week. I went into more detail about affirmations and about what they do for your life. The reason we're doing this is because affirmations every day, the things you put in front of you, the things that you allow into your life and speak over your life, form your life. If you just continue to speak bad things over your life, if you continue to speak negative things in your life, then you're going to manifest negative things in your life. Now, I want to have a little disclaimer here and say that if you have fought cancer, if you have something like diabetes in your life or something like that, that does not mean that you did it, that it's your fault, that you brought that onto your life. Doesn't necessarily mean that. Sometimes just happens. Stuff just happens. Doesn't mean if you were in a car accident that you manifested that into your life. Sometimes stuff just happens. And we have to accept that. But sometimes, if you're always sick, I have a friend who's just always sick. I mean, she is just always fighting colds and just seems to be always miserable and sick. She's always talking about being sick. She's always talking about how miserable she is and how sick she is. Because, and I really feel, I'm gonna add more white. I really do feel that she is manifesting that into her life. Because she's always talking about how miserable and sick she is. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just blending. I'm just taking a few minutes to just blend and getting it to the colors that I want. Combining some water and my paints and these 3 colors, the dark, the medium, and the lighter green and some white to get it to the colors that I want, because I do want to add a little more dark to the top maybe. And I think I've gotten it to the point, little spot there, to the point that I want. So we bring these things, a little more contrast here. We bring these things into our lives, these affirmations, and we put them in front of us and we speak them constantly. We see these things that are pleasing to our eye, and every time we notice them, we speak them, we say them. You are beautiful. I am filled with joy. Even if we don't feel them, we say them. Okay, I just wanted to add a little more contrast to that. All right. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Next, the tree. All right, we are back, and right now we are going to do the whimsical tree, and I have raw umber. I have Artist Loft raw umber and black on my palette here. We are going to sketch out the tree using a little bit of water and some black. We're going to do some fill-in. We do need to let the tree dry a little bit before we start putting on our colorful leaves, and simply because we don't want to smear black and raw umber into our colorful circle leaves. So we're going to start here at the base, and we are going to start, it's going to be over to the side a little bit, and that way it can flow really, really big over here. We're going to do one side. We're going to just bring it up and bring it around and turn it around like that. And this side's going to come up here. And we're again just sketching this out a little bit. Bringing this up. This is just going to see it's not quite dry yet, but that's okay. Sketching it out a little bit. Sketching out one leaf. We're going to come around and we're going to spin around here. And we're going to bring another one over here. We're going to bring this one down here. Another branch. I'm going to bring another branch here. And make sure these are all connecting. And let's do a branch like this. Right there. And another one going like this. Do one coming like this, and I think that'll be good, and then we will fill this in. So we've kind of sketched it out now. Because my green is not quite dry, I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger brush. So I'm unsure whether I want to use a little combination of the raw umber and the black to fill in my tree. Because remember, this is just a whimsical tree. It's not a perfect tree. It is not a Bob Ross tree. I'm getting a little combination of my green. I should have let it dry a little bit more. So I'm gonna let that split off there. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry just a few more minutes and then get started again. Okay, so this is dry now. I'm gonna continue. And so I have a little story to tell you. I was dating my husband and we were having a conversation one time and he said, "Oh, I think I'm getting sick." I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't get sick." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Oh, I don't get sick. I don't get colds." He said, "You don't get sick? What, some superpower or something?" I said, "No, I don't know. I just don't get sick. That's my mentality. I don't get sick. That's just something that I believe in my mind, and I just believe it in my heart, and I profess it in my life. I don't get sick." And for probably, it's been the last 2.5 years, I think I've had one cold. Everybody around me has gotten colds and snuts and all this kind of stuff. And I have gotten very little issues with my nose, and every time something tries to come up against me with my sinuses, I just start saying, "I don't get sick. I don't get sick." I do take vitamin C. I do start taking decongestants, but it never really manifests itself into anything because I don't get sick. And I just start professing that. I start saying that all the time. I don't get sick. No sickness can touch my body. No disease can touch my body. Now, as far as this painting is concerned, this is a Christmas gift for my daughter. Again, if this were a painting of a tree that I were doing sort of in more detail, I would, of course, be not painting it black, dark brown. I would be adding a lot more detail, a lot more texture, but over these black branches, this looks very looming right now. There's going to be a lot of color. So trust me on this. Now at this point, you see what we're doing here. I'm going to be silent now. We're going to fast forward through this process and you're going to hear some sweet music, and we're going to go ahead and finish this part of the painting. Okay, so I added some detail here to my tree. I added a little bit of blue, some yellow to the trunk, and I trimmed up the edges on the tree a little bit. And then I'm just coming through and adding just with a really flat brush. Hopefully that will clear up and give you some detail on that. Real flat and hard brush. I'm just going through and just really fast adding some detail. Here's how I do this. I do this on my portraits quite a lot. Just sort of pound off that black and just go through and very fast. It's not something I take a whole lot of time and do. And I just add some black shadowing. Again, a lot of this is going to be covered up with the leaves we're going to be doing. Don't be too worried if you get a lot of shading in difficult spots or spots that you don't like. A lot of it's going to be covered up. Don't worry, don't panic. It just adds a little bit of extra texture. All right. And right now it looks a little bit like a Halloween tree. But once we get the color on it, it's going to look very whimsical, I promise. Okay, so now we're going to start on the fun part. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Now we're going to start on the fun part, which is adding the color and the leaves to the trees. I have selected different types of brushes, which are kind of the same shape. And you can see right here, they're all kind of squared off at the top. I want to work fast, but because we are working with several different colors, we are not going to be able to work with all of these colors at the same time because we're going to be having overlap. So we need to have some time in between to dry. But which color do you want to start with? I'm going to start with some pink. And I'm going to start with just a little circle here of my pink. I'm going to come over here and add another little pink circle. And this is how I'm going to do my quote-unquote leaves, is just by doing little whimsical circles. And you can do your leaves however you like. If you would like to do your leaves differently, you're welcome to. I'll give a little example here. If you would like to do your leaves like this, with a little point at the end, then you're welcome to. But for my whimsical tree today, I'm doing circles. And I'm starting with pink. Pink has always been my daughter's favorite color. I don't know if it still is. She's 21 years old now. She is a single mom of a little baby, and being a single mom is not an easy task. I was a single mom for a number of years, and it's not easy to do. And she's a great mom, really wonderful young lady, and a great mom. And she needs some affirmations and some inspirations. So this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to now move on to a different color, some blue. And I told you about my affirmation that I use constantly in my life, and that is, I do not get sick. And I haven't been. Every time I get the sniffles, I dig in with some vitamin C, and I just keep declaring, no, I don't get sick, because it's very, very real in my life. The reason I say that is I don't think that any sickness can live in my body. And I'm a woman who has had spinal meningitis 3 times and has been very, very ill in my life. But I'm talking about colds and things that stop us. Now, I understand this stuff happens in life, but I don't get sick. Sickness and disease cannot live in my body, and that is my declaration for my life, and that's the way I choose to live it. All right. You could do ones that are a little bit larger, like this lavender one. I'm going to do a little bit larger. I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to do a light blue one. I'm going to do this one a little bit larger, because on this light blue one, then I am going to write an affirmation. Now I'm going to come in later when this dries a little bit, and I'm going to paint over this a little bit more so it adds a little more color to it. But I'm going to paint an affirmation write an affirmation on there. I also want to add some larger white ones, maybe right here, to write some affirmations on as well. Remember, we are doing this as an affirmation tree, but we're going to add plenty of color to this. This is just the beginning. So the things that you write on this are going to be, it's going to be pleasing to your eye because you're painting this, and then you're going to be having these things that are going to be meaningful to you, and you're going to speak them out over your life. Once these dry, we'll be overlapping the colors as well. And I'm adding some green as well. Okay. Hi, you guys. Just so you're aware, just for a little break here, I have stopped for just a few minutes to allow these little dots that I have put on here to completely dry. Now, I'm not completely done, and the reason I'm not done is because these dots are sort of ill-formed, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have things a little misshapen because this is pretty whimsical, but they're also not filled in all the way. The orange is not really bright orange. I sometimes have to add a little bit of white to thicken up my orange in order for it to really be that orange that I want it to be. So now I have to come in with actual orange and put it on top of this kind of salmon color and add it, and it'll be that bright orange that I want it to be. And then this yellow is quite thin. I'm going to add it a little more yellow. So really I'm coming in and adding more of these colors to really thicken them up, brighten them up. And then I'm going to let that dry again because I want to start putting color on top of one another. I want to start putting dots on top of these dots. And I cannot do that unless these are all completely dry. This painting itself is a process painting. So again, I encourage you to stop this video and take your time. Take time to paint your paintings. They're not going to be ones that are going to be hanging in a gallery someday, but they will hang in your office or in your hallway or in your room, and they will help you to feel good about yourself, and they'll hold all of your affirmations. So make sure that you're putting your heart into it. And that's what you need to be doing with these paintings, is putting your heart into it and not judging yourself for any imperfections. Don't judge yourself too harshly. So we're going to keep moving with this painting, stopping the video when we need to and letting it dry and just continuing on and doing what we need to do to make this a beautiful painting that will make us feel good and make us feel special and make us feel right. Well, hello, Sheldon. Are you here to say hello to everyone? And so I'm going to stop. I'm going to continue to paint, and it's going to be on fast forward, and we're going to continue on with this. And so enjoy the music. Hi everyone, I hope you have enjoyed watching me create this beautiful whimsical tree. As you noticed in the fast forward of this, I added some smaller little dots here on the tree. Go ahead and make the tree your own. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be adding my own affirmations on here that will be for my daughter. And so I'm going to be adding things that I think are personalized for her. And I am going to put them all over the tree in these little bubbles, around the tree, kind of in here. And I hope you've enjoyed this. Make this your own. And don't forget to build yourself up and keep speaking life over your own life, because you are worth it. You are worthy of having wonderful and amazing things in your life. So stop speaking dread and bad things over your life. You are worth it. You are good. You are happy. I am powerful. Say those things over your life. I am filled with joy. My potential is unlimited. Say those things over your own life. And so use your tree and your affirmation tree. And just a really quick tip about the painting itself. On some of these, I did use Liquitex modeling paste and to just sort of give it a little bit of texture. And so I'm going to go ahead and put my affirmations on here for my daughter. And next week is going to be a sunset with, we're going to do a little palm tree with a sunset scene and more affirmations. All right, I'll see you next week. Shelly signing out.